Hey guys, welcome back to my AFK Arena. In today's video, we're back testing out the Chad. I wanted to test some things out after my previous video where I talked about his really good stun uptime. I wanted to test him with Khazard to see how that works. Now, the cool thing is that he has a great synergy with Khazard in that if you have him with the Khazard, his stun can actually be a 100% uptime, meaning once he uses his ult and he goes into the berserk mode where he just consistently generates energy, provided he doesn't get it controlled, he'll never lose all of his energy and he will be able to infinitely stun an enemy. Now, it may sound amazing. I am still playing with it, trying to find a good way to do it. I'll show you a couple examples of it working. I'll also show you one on a recording so we can slow it down and have a look. But basically, the trouble I have is it's too hard, especially with the heroes that are in the game now, to find an enemy team that doesn't have something that can break out of CC, and also to keep the enemies grouped up in a meaningful way where he can lock out an enemy team. Having said that, he can do an infinite stun on one or two enemies at the end of a battle. So I wanted to show you a couple replays, show you some of my testing, and just keep you guys updated because I'm really having fun with this guy, and I feel like his kit's really good, but I can't nail down the best way to use him yet. Now, we're doing this in the guild trials, so that's what we're using. Obviously, we're at level 360. The enemies are at level 610 here. Now, this was a failed run, but I just thought it shows you really good what he can do towards the end of a battle in survivability just through stun locks. So let's jump into this one and have a look. Now, ignore the team. I was experimenting with some stuff, you know, just playing around. You know how it is. But you'll see here that we get to a stage where everyone's dead. So now everyone's dead, but you can see the Aioli. Look at the Aioli stun. And then he goes ahead and does it again. Aioli's still stunned. The cool thing is he does hit enemies like just either side of him, but it's not entirely reliable to hit everyone. So like this team, obviously the trouble we're having is that enemies are around, and then also we have the Kelther who's going to break out of stuff, but we're pretty reliably going through doing that slash and just stun locking the enemies. You can see at the end there, the Torn was out of range of the stun, but now we're back into that stun phase, going pretty well, but the Kelther in this team is basically what's going to be the end of us. But it's pretty decent stun capabilities that he has just through this ability to keep the enemies locked out. Now, once again, that Torn gets out of range. We miss the stun on him and away we go. But pretty nice stun reliability from that one when you team up with Khazard. Also, once Khazard is dead, the effect does apply, so it still works, which is really nice. But like I said, I've been struggling to find a way that I can do this in a meaningful way where it's really impactful, because one, you've got to make him survive until he does his ult, until he can start chain stunning them. Two, you got to have the enemies grouped up, and three, you got to have enemies that can't break out of it, like the Kelther and stuff like that, which is just like a really hard enemy team to find. So in theory, him with Khazard seems really good, but getting the conditions right to make it work in the way you want it to is going to be really tough. Now, I was using Frampton just because I personally really like Frampton. Also, on top of that, Frampton has his own stuns. So my idea was, like, even if we, like, say, end up with Frampton and Chad split up, they could maybe both stun lock a group. Now, Frampton's isn't 100% uptime stun lock, but I thought it would be like a cool thing. Now, obviously, we're in a very expensive team here, and we can definitely change some things. Now, sometimes he can survive in the front row as well. We can play some stuff. Another unit I thought, and we're getting into a lot of sell hypos, I know, but a unit I thought could be decent was going to be Rook. I thought he could have been handy for grouping enemies up as well. I already like the Rook with Frampton, but it doesn't quite work out the way that I would like it to in the grouping. You can see they're still pretty split. Doesn't quite group them very well. But you know, once he gets into this stun lock thing, we would be fine. We obviously get a Kelther on this enemy team, but you know, it's a really decent stun lock. And now we've got the whole team alive still here, so it's not too bad. But obviously, we're going to start dropping units up the top there. And even though we've got Chad stun locking down the bottom, we will run into that phase where obviously Kelther breaks out, all that sort of stuff on this enemy team. But I just wanted to show you that kind of stuff. I don't know, and I just feel like, you know, Khazard's already got a pretty solid comp, so I don't know. And then I got into the thought of thinking, well, if I could use basically these two as a core, and because they both have pretty consistent stuns, maybe we could lock out. I just can't find anything at higher deficits. As you can look at our power deficit, we're at, oh wait, let's just put some units in. You know, we're a bit over a 10k deficit in that sort of situation. we can't, sorry, a 10x, not 10k. So like I don't know. I really like this guy. His kit's really solid. I'm just struggling to find that exact use, but I thought the Khazard thing was a cool one, and maybe in a control team you put him with Khazard and the rest of the control core to just add to it. It could be a thing, but once again, we need the grouping up. Now, another way to do grouping up would be to use like something like Pippa, Odin, to use the portals to group enemies up. Now, another thing that I was thinking of, bear with me here, and I'm just going through my thought process with him, with you guys as we go, is if we take a look at, where is he? Can I check his skills from here? Because he's anyway, his signature item, how his allies get the buff, and you want to keep him overhealed, essentially. I thought maybe if we paired him with like the Awakened Solace could be decent. And then obviously we have, you could use a Star or Navanthi, who's another really solid healer, teams up pretty decent with it, and then, throw in a Mishka or something like that. And I thought, maybe this kind of thing might be decent, as it's like just a decent team core. We got the Pippa for the grouping, also extra control. We can get the group together. Obviously, we're not going to make use of the Khazard, but then we've also got him staying really topped off because we've got the 2 healers. We've got the Mishka, who's just good general control. That's another sort of team that I'm wanting to experiment with a bit more, just to try and get it working out. Obviously, this one is failing super hard. We might try this against a different enemy. I keep battling against this Keltha team, and it ain't quite working out too well for us. Let's just call it that. Man, I swear I have to turn animations off every time I play this game. Let's jump over. Let's tackle this with another group. Let's just go to this one. This one's got the Warwick and the tree. That's probably going to spank us anyway. But like I said, there's just so many units that just make the whole idea of the pure stun lock on him not viable. But I still think he's got some work in his own right. Now, once we get into these higher deficits, it does become difficult, just due to the fact that enemies, like, he struggles to tank. So, that one, I'm going to say Awakened Souls did all the damage there. Like, even Pippa out-damaged him. So that time, he didn't really shine in damage sense. I think that team would have been perfectly fine with another replacement. But yeah, so once again, it's that kind of thing. Like, he works in a team like this because the team's pretty solid in itself. And I don't know how much he really adds. Also, I don't know how much his buffing was adding to the capacity of that Awakened Solace. So it could be that his buffing is really solid. So what we can do is we can bounce out and we can go in and check that. And we can sub him out for something else and just see how it sort of works. So oh wait, we can't sub him out. That's what I'll have to test on Chiasma. But yeah, obviously we have the effective buffing from him, so we don't know how much of an impact that has. Definitely going to take more testing. I just thought the Khazard thing was really cool, that we do get a 100% uptime with the stun when you team him up with Khazard. I think there's a lot of different ways to use this guy. I just haven't nailed it. And I find often when the game progresses longer, once he can start chaining those stunts, he can actually survive really well against enemies. But sometimes in the early game, he just gets absolutely clapped, and it's quite painful. So that's the sort of things I'm thinking about. I'm going to keep experimenting. I really like this guy and I'm really enjoying him. But let me know if you guys have anything else that you've found since my last video from the comments there that you think really works with him, and I'll definitely test it out. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.